Video game journalists hate gamers, video game developers hate gamers. Really, the only people who like gamers are gamers. And now we're finding out a CD Projekt Red franchise and lore designer is a former journo who wishes violence upon the very people that he has to make content for. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, there are a lot of people within this industry who hate us, the very people who are the reason why they have jobs in the first place, and you'd think they'd have a shred of respect for us, but they never do. And now the CD Projekt Red franchise and lore designer Kian is a former writer at The Gamer who has made it clear he does not like gamers and even wants to punch them. So YouTuber The Reviewer Wild Take investigated Mars' history, and specifically a number of posts he made to X where he shared his desire to commit violence against gamers and expressed his disdain for them. I just truly do not understand how these people constantly get jobs at these companies. Like, on one hand, sure, the best person for the job should get the job, but when they wish violence upon individuals and are ultimately going to cost a company money, it just does not make sense. And plus, why would they even want to work within an industry filled with individuals they hate? I guess it ultimately just goes back to like Gamergate 1 with like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, where they didn't care about video games. They just saw it as an easy grift and they wanted to make money as quickly as possible. And the video game industry is constantly growing. So I suppose it just leads back to funds, though you'd think that they would not want to be around people they claim to hate so much all the time. But his video game career did not begin in development work, but he was an associate editor and eventually lead features editor at The Gamer. The Gamer is one of the worst outlets by far. They are on par with Kotaku. They are worse than Polygon, and I have absolutely no respect for anyone who currently or has previously worked at this outlet. He then became the editor at Good Luck Have Fun Entertainment, which describes itself as a company that provides best-in-class written and video game content to some of the world's biggest publishers, and he only stayed there for 4 months before becoming a games consultant in January 2022, and then he joined CD Projekt Red in April 2023. It is just mind-boggling to see how quickly you can move up in the video game industry, even with a history of posts that again are wishing violence upon certain people. And over the past couple of years, so when he's worked for The Gamer and Good Luck Have Fun and was a games consultant, he was posting things like, I am once again asking for you to stop being toxic little weirdos. Somebody said, I am quite unknown, but I ran away to law school before it was easier than dealing with gamers. And then he responded with law school being easier than dealing with gamers says everything anyone needs to know about this gig, which is so wildly inaccurate. Gamers are amazing when they feel respected. And when they do not feel respected, we end up in the middle of a culture war. I mean, Gamergate 2 is well underway, and that is because over the past decade, the media stopped listening to us, developers stopped listening to us, and we are no longer afraid to voice our opinions. People are willing to stick up for themselves. And again, if you guys just were making content for gamers, we wouldn't have anything to criticize. You would not be facing backlash regarding the decisions you're making in titles. And overall, you would be in a significantly better position. It's funny to me that the gaming industry is growing so much. It in 2024 is forecasted to bring in roughly $208 billion, which is insane because you know how Hollywood is doing? Not so good. 12.3 billion for 2024. So yikes. But if they simply were always making content that we wanted, Imagine how much more money they would be making if we didn't have fails the size of Concord or Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws. Like, it would be 230 to 250 billion dollars if all of these major companies were not blowing billions every single year. In December 2020, he had said, "The thing I find funny about gamers complaining about how good games journalists have it is like, if you think this job is so incredibly well paid, it's not, and it's easy, it's not. Why don't you just do it yourself?" I don't understand how being a video games journalist could be hard. Sure, you have to reach out to developers and you have to follow press releases, but the majority of the articles that these outlets put up now are either walkthroughs, meaning all you have to do is play a game and then write about your experience playing the game, and you just have to point out and take screenshots of, oh, you go here and pick this up and you go here and put this item there. Like, that's not very difficult. And then you have to do interviews, which again is just a set of questions or having a conversation with people. Like, these are not very difficult things to do at all whatsoever. And sure, maybe it's not well paid, but ultimately, when you can pump out tons of content, you should, in reality, be able to make more money. That's just the way that content creation goes for a lot of people. I mean, sure, there are some content creators who will get millions and millions of views on a video or a live stream, and that's great, but it's not the case for everybody. You have to actually, I don't know, put in work and effort. Like, these people are so fucking pissed off by the fact that they actually have to put in a little bit of effort. He also had said, "I say this a lot, but games receiving mixed reviews is a good thing. I don't think that we need to snipe at each other because some people thought a game was better or worse than we did. That's not clever, it's petty, and it's never A, comes across well, or B, is helpful in any way." Exactly. The gamers are already bad enough. This was a statement that I could almost agree with, right? Because I think it's fine if I love a game and you hate a game, or vice versa. And that should not be a bad thing. Discussion and criticism should be welcome within an industry like this. And sure, right? I'm not saying to go and harass anybody. I'm not saying harassment is okay. But ultimately, these developers need to face harsh criticism if they want to make games that are better than the last, or they start getting comfortable. And then we end up in situations like Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's completely historically inaccurate, not the types of characters that people were expecting. They're making wacky choices with the relationships, and when you feature a historical playable figure, you need to not offer those things, which is something you could do in a game with a wholly unique character, but that's not the case with someone like Yasuke. And Ubisoft deserves to face harsh criticism for the decisions that they've made. And maybe the next Assassin's Creed will be even better, but if we don't criticize, they get comfortable and then they start pumping out trash. Same thing that like Activision Blizzard is doing right now. And to top all of this off, he said back in 2020 that he does, in fact, want to punch gamers. So he's just a genuinely terrible person all around. And this is somebody who is at the helm of a franchise the size of The Witcher 4, somebody who was hired by CD Projekt Red years after making these posts. It's like they just do not vet anybody. If you fit into the certain boxes they want to check off. And it's so absolutely pathetic that this former games journo is willing to voice his hatred for the very people that pay him, because ultimately he would not have a job if it was not for gamers. So you'd think he'd have a shred of respect for us, but he doesn't. And I think over the next few months, we're going to see a lot more stories like this pop up regarding major releases like The Witcher 4, for example, because this is only a couple of days after they had announced the game and showed off the trailer at the Game Awards. Never mind when people actually start digging into some of the team members that they've got working on this project. So, yes, I can't say I'm particularly shocked by this, but I am very disappointed to see somebody in this position with this much influence admitting to hating the very people that are the reason why he's got a job in the first place. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.